Okay, we are ready. Everyone is ready, I guess. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. How is everyone? Peachy keen? Perfect. Oh, all right. Well, 3 more lectures, 3 more nights, huh? Wasted days and wasted nights. Never mind. Has been wasted for you? Has been a waste for you? Well, first of all, there's some news from Portugal. Bad news. Did you know? Did you hear? Portugal now is becoming the epicenter of the COVID-19. It used to be spared. It was spared from the COVID-19. Now it is the epicenter. It's out of control right now, and they have no clues. They don't know what to do. And so this COVID thing here is very tenacious. It just doesn't go away, okay? And so our thoughts are with our friends and supporters in Portugal. And again, I think we had a chance to help a family recover from COVID-19, and they fully recovered. No one died, as far as I know. Right? Okay. I hope the trend continues. I know many of them who've been practicing with us should be okay. They might get a sore throat here and there, but they should be strong enough for the COVID-19 not to be able to harm them. However, the family might need help, so keep us in mind. We'd like to help protect them and their families if necessary. Okay? Little things we do for our friends and internet influencers. Influencers. All right. So, what about Los Angeles? Did anyone here? Tonight, before coming, I had to look for it. I said, what can I say to my beloved cultivators? What's happening in LA? Have our efforts been in vain? And what do you think? Exactly, that's my exact. I was in trepidation as I was mousing through all those new things. And guess what? Well, let me have a sip of tea first. Does anyone know? Does that disciple of Master Shua want to know? She looks so serene and happy. In January, the average daily infection was how many? Every day, on the average in January. From January 1 through January 20, and 21 through 31. Okay? Average out. To how many? See, now he forgot about the pain. Isn't it amazing? Oh, here and buckle. Slap him. 44,000 new cases every day. 44,000. Okay? The last 3 days, what's the average? 20,000, I hear 20,000. Do I hear more? Anyone? 22,000, do I hear 22,000? 22,000. Okay, do I hear 24,000? Anyone for 24,000? 24,000. 1. 22,001. 22,002. Sold 12,000. 12,000 a day the last 3 days on the average. Isn't it cool? Of course, we have nothing to do with it. Let's be real. It's just blowing into the wind. Okay? Isn't it cool? What about the other statistic? Death. Huh? On the average, how many people died per day in LA County? Okay, let's not go into bidding here, okay? 500 plus every day. Way over 500. Not quite 550, but over 500 per day. And I just wonder how your family could even arrange to have, a place in a funeral parlor. That's impossible nowadays. 500 people a day. And now, I'm glad you asked. Thank you for asking. 370 people. Yeah, please. Okay. Keep up the good work, huh, folks? 3 more days. Yes? Okay. So if that happens in LA County, it's happening throughout California, I tell you, and so forth. Okay? Proud of you, love you. Love you all. You're very special. Love you all. Buckle up again. Okay? Yeah, cool? Okay. 3 more days, okay? Don't slack up, okay? Work harder, huh? Yeah. Believe, huh? Okay, all right. I'm so tired. So excited. So many outflows. Korea, any news from Korea? I cannot read Korean. Never mind. Koreans are statues. It's just like Z turn to human bells. Okay, let's start the lecture, please.
那么现在再讲呢，另外一个法师，这个法师大德高僧呢，他叫这个什么？
Now, let's talk about another Dharma master. This Dharma master, great virtuous, venerable, eminent monk, what was his name?
叫觉明，觉就是觉悟的觉，明呢就是这个名利的名，他也是一个印度人。这现在讲的完全是印度的高僧，不是中国的。
His name was Jue Ming. He was also Indian. We are talking entirely about Indian venerable eminent monks, not Chinese ones.
因为佛教啊是从印度来的，所以现在要提倡印度的高僧。这个讲。
Because our Buddhism came from India, so now we are promoting Indian venerable eminent monks.
小明法师，他出家这个因缘呢，也很特别的。
This Dharma master Jue-ming, his causes and conditions to live the home life was very special.
他家里也是个外道，说这个外道啊，是很特别的一个外道，很秘密的外道。
His family was also externalists. This external practice was a very special external practice, a very secret external practice.
不叫其他人知道这个外道。那么也是有一天呢，就来一个萨满到他家里来乞食。
They won't let others know about this external practice. Also one day, one Shramana came to his house for alms begging.
他一看见那个沙满就发了脾气，人讨厌这些东西跑到这儿来要饭吃。
Once he saw this Shramana, he lost his temper. So annoying. These things came here begging for food.
你赶快去把他给我打一顿，就叫一个人呢到那儿就打这个沙满。
You go quickly and beat him up for me. He told somebody to go beat up the Shramana.
这个人到那儿就打这个沙门，殊不知这个打这个沙门这个小明他的父亲身上就痛了。
This person went there to beat up this Shramana, not knowing when beating up this Shramana, Jue-ming's father's body was in pain.
本来打这个沙门，这个沙门没有怎么样的，他这个父亲身上痛，然后
Originally was to beat up this Shramana. Nothing happened to this Shramana, but his father's body was in pain.
手脚也都拘练起来了，就都这么抽到一起呀，不能动弹了，走也不能走，站不起来了。
Pain, and then his hands and feet cramped. They cramped together and couldn't move. He can't walk or stand up.
Is there a question, YouTube? Go ahead, YouTube.
Yun asks, is that okay that I am reciting the Shurangama mantra at home, or is it better not to recite it at home?
It should be okay for you to recite at home for yourself, in general. But in some cases where it's not a good idea. But if you recite and you have no problems, then it should be okay. Okay. Yes. White.
He keeps saying Shramana. What is a Shramana?
A Shramana? Shramana, you mean? Or Shramana. One of them. Okay. Shramana. No. Shramana. Shramana. I can't pronounce the way she does. For some reason, between the two of us, it's confusing enough. I say Shramana. She says Shramana. and which makes you wonder, is it Shramana, Shramana, or Shramana? Okay, it's Sanskrit for a left home person. So this person left the home life. And so now in China, the way that the Chinese use it, the way the Master Hsuan uses it, and it's translated into English, Shramana means monk, a left home person. It doesn't sound as bad as I chuckle because it's fun every every slide. Hey, yeah. Go on.
他这回知道是得罪了，然后就问这个巫师，那
Now he knew he offended somebody. Then he asked a wizard.
巫师啊，就是有那种鬼呀、到山上说话那种人，那叫巫师、巫医。我
Wizards are the type of people with ghosts getting onto their body to talk. That's called wizard or witch doctor.
It's quite commonplace in developed or lesser developed countries to have this phenomenon. Do you know that? There are lots of them in Vietnam. You saw that portrayed in one of those movies, remember? Which movie? Very famous one. Live and let die. No? Live and let die. This, they all copyrighted, so I can't. Jane Seymour and Roger Moore, I think. Does it ring a bell? She can flip the cards, the tarot cards, and then she could foresee the future. A guy's coming to the island to wreak destruction on our opium crop. Remember? No? Oh boy, I'm dating myself. You guys don't watch James Bond anymore. Oh, I'm so lonely. Yes, Green.
Thank you, Master. I saw that movie. I think, though, for my Western background, a wizard and a witch doctor are two kind of different things. The first example of a wizard that comes to mind that I can think of in a movie was Tim the Wizard in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And he kind of wears like this ram's horn helmet and just points and explodes mountains. But then like a witch doctor is more like a voodoo kind of like plays with bones and wears like furry like stuff and like sacrifices animals. So
yeah, there are all kinds. There's so many different portrayals, but this is just so many different types, and they're called wizard, witch doctors, voodoo men, or whatever. Okay, they're all similar in that for the lesser developed countries, it's very commonplace. When you need to get an advice, you go see a witch doctor. It's quite commonplace, right? Ask Goyin, I'm sure she's seen quite a few already. They're here in this country too. Okay? So Master Hsuan says, these are the people who have ghosts. So what happened is that the ghosts possess them. And then the ghosts whisper things in their ears, and then they repeat it to their clients. Okay? One of my co-cultivator went to a witch doctor in Bosa, in Vietnamese town, here in LA. And with a few people, and they were amazed. He says he was so amazed that this young man, okay, with a picture, his shifu in the back, okay, his spiritual teacher in the back, he was able to tell his clients the past. And he was telling his clients things, I'm sure Goyin would like to hear this, about secrets in the family that no one else knew unless you're there. You know? And this witch doctor, this witch guy, young guy, really not a cultivator at all, okay, knew everything. He described it into great details. What happened? And this client kept saying, no way, how could you know that? You know, only, this is a secret that only I knew, no one else was there. How could you know? Look at Goyin's face now, she's so interested. Yeah, I'll give you the name later. And then, so it was one person after another. This witch doctor is able to tell them exactly what happened in the past. Okay? All the family secrets. And if I say, are you sure you want me to talk about this? What happened in in Vegas? He said, oh no. Skip the Vegas part. What about in Russia with Putin? No. Not in that hotel. You know, it's amazing. And then it came my cultivator's turn. He said, hey, how about you? Would you like to have a reading? Yeah? And he says, of course. We feel it, you know, hey, how can I hurt? The other three seems to be normal after the reading. So he stuck his hand out, okay, he says, because what he does, what the witch doctor does, is to hold your hands, touch your hands, okay? And then he starts telling you about your family secrets, your secrets, okay? So he says, so my cultivator stuck his hand out. And the guy, the witch doctor, was reaching forward, and then he froze. He said, why? He says, what's the matter? What's the matter? He says, I'm told not to touch you. He said, why not? He says, oh, sorry, I'm busy. I have another appointment. Sayonara. So he cut short the seance. You know what seance means, don't you? Seance is a French word. It's for classy people, called session. Madame, you know, who can see the future, would give you a seance, will cost you dearly. Okay? A session is a lot cheaper. A seance, now, it's class. So anyway, he says, no, sorry, I gotta go. Cut it short. So, what happened? I'm telling you the story to illustrate. I heard about that story from my co-cultivator, but now I have this confirmation from Master YongHua. This is what they do. when he touches your hands, when they touch your hands, so these types of people touches your hands, a ghost then, because you see, can I touch your hand? Pay attention, can I touch your hands? You might want to know this, it's kind of cool. Because it's so impressive with your clients. Touch your hands. And he says, of course. So you grant them permission to enter you. See that? They have to have your permission to come into you. Okay? So what happened when this young man touches, he's around 30s, late 30s. He touches your hand. The ghost that possesses him enters you. Sang-woo. Sang-woo is so happy. Look at her face. She's like, wow, this Dharma talks are so interesting. We talk about anything. Okay, so it enters you. Look at her face. They don't talk like this over in your temple, do they? Bored. Okay, so they enter you and they read your hard drive. Isn't that cool? That's what they know about all your past. Because remember, whatever you did, karma you created, it's stored in your hard drive. Eighth consciousness. So this ghost here has the ability, some of these ghosts have the ability to read your hard drive if you allow them to come in. See that? You have to grant them permission. So they know your password, you know. You have to sign in first, and then now they can access your hard drive. Isn't that interesting? That's how these people do it. So they're possessed by ghosts. So I'm trying to tell you, Sang-woo, do not be so impressed. He said, I like to learn that. Very easy. You don't need to do anything. You let the ghost come in and possess you. That's it. It's no big deal. And he'll be there with you the rest of your life. Eats with you, sleeps with you, meditates with you. Cool. And he's terrified of my co-cultivator. Because he says, if we're not sure, but if he enters him and then read all those things, read whatever you want, and then the reverse could be true as well. We follow you back. Questions, comments? Ooh, everyone's so impressed. Ooh, alien invasion. Oh, invasion of body snatchers. Ooh, you only see it in the movies. It happens in real life, my friends. Not only in movies. In Jane Seymour, that scene where she's just reading cards, but actually there's a black guy, black witch doctor, who actually... Remember that scene? Love that scene. Okay, continue. This is real, folks. You are so sheltered. That's why you're so weak. The whole world is full of all these wonderful, wonderful things. But the problem with these witch doctors, they cannot tell your future yet because it's not recorded yet. So they BS you. Continue.
他是怎么回事？这个巫医就说：“说你得罪贤人了， 你得罪贤人，所以这鬼神呢就叫你这么样子了。
He asked the wizard, "What happened?" This witch doctor said, "You offended a sage."
See that? So he read in the future, the back, the past. He says, "Oh, you offended someone." He only knew that this person, Sean, offended someone. Okay, that's why his father's body is in pain, because he told his workers, his helpers, to beat up on this monk, and as a result, his father's body was somehow in pain, but the monk is like, it's nothing. He's probably a fourth stage arhat. Okay, or at least third. So that's why it's recorded. You know, it was in here. So he says, "Oh, you offended someone." But then, if someone has that ability, okay, for that kind of strange consequences, it's got to be someone special. So that's why the sage is his interpretation. Of course, the ghost cannot tell one from the other. Is that clear? Oh yeah, I know a lot more. Here we go. Well, I know a lot more than you think. Go on.
他那要怎么办呢？啊，你得罪哪一个贤人，你要向哪一个贤人去求忏悔，他要是原谅你，你就会好的。
He said, "What shall I do now? Whichever sage you offended, you need to plead for repentance from him. If he forgive you, you will recover."
于是乎，他就把他打这个沙门又请到家里来，也是叩头礼拜来忏悔呀、认错啊。
Thus, he invited the shamana who he beat up to his house, although bowed to repent and also bowed to repent and admitted his mistake.
就是我不对啦，怎么样的，啊，这一忏悔呢，他这个父亲呢，这种病呢就好了。
This was my fault, and so on. Once he repented, his father recovered from his illness.
好了，可是他这个儿子，就这个角明啊，一看这个沙门呢，这么有道德，就跟他出家，拜他做师傅。
Recovered, but his son, this dreaming, saw this Shramana has such virtue, thus left the home life with him.
See, so this Jueming here is and his family are externalists. They're practicing these externalist things. They're spiritually inclined. So when they saw this more superior monk, what did they do? They switched camp. Okay, so that's quite commonplace. Again, it's true. It's still happening today. The ghosts are still around. You still find people who will, the so-called witch doctors or whatever. It's a lot more commonplace than you think. It's just that in the less developed countries, there's still those people around. So even here in the United States, this is not a big deal. Okay, this is for real. All right. So it's typical of these externalists. they practice in order to, out of greed, if you will. So as long as they're getting what they were looking for, what they want, they stick around. And when they find something else better, they switch camp immediately. Okay, so such people, and they stick around for how long, who knows. So that's the difference between Buddhism and externalists. Okay, we don't try to impress you with this and that. Okay, because if you try, if we need to impress you in order to keep you, next time someone will come around and impress you with something else, some cool tricks, and you abandon ship again that quickly, just as easily. So it would be a waste of time, wasted efforts, wasted days and wasted nights. So let's stay small and be happy together and loyal to each other. Huh? And put up with each other. And remember, when you switch camps, no one will put up with you, my friend. That's why you go back and tell your wife, I may be imperfect, but I stick with you through thick and thin. Even before you put on your makeup. Just kidding. You guys are so serious. Yeah, I still remember that. I went to my sister's wedding, and this is long time ago when I was in the Midwest, and I was a hotshot, and I drove to the small town to attend this wedding, and I was dressed in my Armani suits and so forth, walking around with a lot of hot air. So the groom's sister was a model from Texas, and we were looking at each other, glancing at each other, and of course my mother had to be around, so I said, oh well, it's not meant to be. I had to talk to my mother. And of course she knew that was, and next day on the phone, talked to her, I said, how was the wedding? I said, yeah, fine. And she says, oh, my hubby's sister. She said hello. I said, oh yeah, say hello to her too. I said, to her? You sure? I said, why not? She says, did you look at her this morning I looked at her this morning without makeup? That's where the joke comes from, okay? Never mind. You guys have no sense of humor at all. Finally, someone is moving. Moved. Yes, Green.
Master, in my experience, the proper response in that moment is, yes, I did, and I think she looks even more beautiful without makeup.
His personal experience. He'll be fine. I'm no longer worried about him. Continue, please.
太太说：“师父是常常到各国去游化，游化。”
Bowed him to be his master, bowed him to be his master. They often traveled and taught in different countries.
Bow to him.
有一
Would be nice to have another two. Bow to him. It's okay. We correct you one word at a time. You know?
Thank you.
Yes.
在走路上呢，就遇到一个老虎啊，这个猛虎，他师傅就要跑，要避开这个虎。
Once walking on the road, they met a tiger. This fierce tiger. His master wanted to run away to avoid this tiger.
So wait. Let me get this straight. I don't get it. This master is a guy who got beaten up, and as a result, Jue Ming's father was hurting, right? That's the master we're talking about. That he's walking together on the road, traveling everywhere. Hinayana, you see that? Hinayana, okay? And together they saw a tiger, and the master was frightened, so ran away. Okay? So he's got to be thirsty, Shahat. That's why. Okay? Continue.
角明就说这个老虎它吃饱了，你不要怕它它不会再来伤我们的。
But Jueming said, "This tiger is full. You don't need to be afraid of it. It won't hurt us."
他这么讲，他的这个师傅也就不一定不信，也不一定相信。你怎么知道他吃饱了？
He said so. His master didn't necessarily believe or disbelieve. How do you know it is full?
看这个虎啊，这个老虎，果然，他们也没有理他们，就走了，走了。
But this tiger, as expected, walked away without paying attention to them. Walked away.
走了，他就向前面又走，走了没有多远，果然呢，看见呢有的人的骨头，又有人血在那个地下那个地方，也。
Then they kept on walking forward, not too far. Sure enough, they saw people's bone and blood on the ground.
还有那种的痕迹呀，还有呢，痕迹就有那个血的人的血的流到地下的，又有骨头啊，
There were also these remains. There was blood, people's blood flowing onto the ground, and bones.
看他的师傅，他怎么知道呢？奇怪，就认为很奇怪。这时候他才13岁，这个叫13岁。
His master, how did he know? Strange. His master thought that was strange. At that time, he was only 13 years old. Jueming was 13 years old.
其实呢，这不足为奇，这不算什么奇怪。 当时我相信这个小孩子，这个小明大德，那时候才。
Actually, this was not at all surprising. This was not strange at all. I believe, at that time, this little child, this great virtuous one, Jue Ming,
是杀你，他已经呢，得到天眼通，所以他能看见这个老虎已经吃饱了。
At that time, he was a novice. He already obtained heavenly eye penetration, so he could see this tiger was full.
他看见他肚里是有东西，要不然的时候他也不会那么说。
He saw there was stuff in its stomach, otherwise he wouldn't say so.
那么他14岁就读诵经典，这个经典呢，他也读诵很多经典读了几百万言，几百万。
He was reciting sutras at the age of 14, recited many sutras, read several million scrolls, several million scrolls.
读诵很多经典，读了几百万言，几百万卷的这个经书。他读的经书多了他性情也就骄傲起来，生了骄傲。骄傲什么呢？在这个。
Several million scrolls of sutras. Because he read many sutras, his temperament became proud. What pride? Proud of what? He said.
世界上他要可以做我的师父的人很少喽，因为他自己比谁都高了。
In this world, maybe there are very few people can be my master. He thought of himself higher than anybody.
所以没有人可以做他师父了，就生出这么一种骄傲心。他生出这种骄傲心呢，当然他就有一种骄傲的样子了。
So, nobody can be his master. He gave rise to such a proud mind. He gave rise to a proud mind. Of course, he would have the appearance of being proud.
所以一般的僧人呢，也都对他也看不起这个人，太骄傲了，没有什么大意思。
So, ordinary monks looked down upon him. This person is too proud. He is not worth much.
所以他在20岁到了20岁呀，谁先去？果龙先去。他20多岁， 没受戒，还是做沙弥。
When he was 20, at the age of 20, below is Master YongHua talked to his disciple, which one of you go first? Guo Yin go first. Then continue the story. In his 20s, he was still not fully ordained. He was still a novice.
为什么呢？没有人愿意给他受戒，你这太骄傲了，不能叫他做和尚，不能叫他做比丘，
Why? Because nobody was willing to transmit the precepts to him, because he was too proud, couldn't let him become a monk, couldn't let him become a bhikshu.
大家就都来这个什么他，谁也不，譬如他师父叫谁去登坛给他受戒，都不去。
Everybody was like that to him. Nobody would. For example, his master asked somebody to get onto the altar to transmit the precepts to him.
就好像叫要罢工似的，不传这个戒，所以他20多岁还没有受戒。
They all wouldn't go, as if they were on strike. They wouldn't transmit the precepts. So he wasn't fully ordained in his 20s.
等到以后，他要跟他舅父学这个这种五明论，五明论这是一种外道法。
Then later, he also learned these 5 classes of knowledge Shastra. The 5 classes of knowledge Shastra is an external Dharma.
完了，学了大约时间久了，也就有这个一些个比丘，很慈悲了，说可以给他受戒了。大家。
Maybe he studied for a long time. Then some bhikkhus were very compassionate. They said it is okay to transmit the precepts to him.
或者他师傅也去给他各方面来找这个不讨厌他这个人来给他受了戒。27岁，他受了具足戒。
People, or maybe his master, were looking everywhere for him, looking for somebody who were not annoyed by him to transmit him the precepts. He received full ordination at the age of 27.
你看，这个受戒也不容易的，不是说像现在你们到台湾去，就可以受了戒的。
You see, it is not easy to receive full ordination. Not like now. You can receive full ordination by going to Taiwan.
当时很不容易的，这37证呢，要慢慢的找。
At that time, it was very difficult. Need to slowly find these 3 masters and 7 certifications.
Certifier. You need 7 masters and 3 certifying masters to be able to transmit the precepts.
他学了五明论和这个受了具足戒以后他还是专门研究 这个读诵这个法门。
After he studied the 5 classes of knowledge Shastra and received full ordination, he still specialized in investigating the recitation Dharma.
也有研究啊，这个翻译经典的法门。在鸠摩罗什法师就跟着他来修佛法。
Also, investigating the translating sutras Dharma. Then Dharma master Kumarajiva studied the Buddha Dharma under him.
对这个小明法师很恭敬，鸠摩罗什法师。很恭敬。
He was very respectful to Dharma master Jueming. Dharma master Kumarajiva was very respectful.
他以后啊，就到了这个沙雷国。沙雷国啊，这个国王叫不念。
Later, he arrived at Shalei. Shalei's king was named Bunian, which is non-recitation.
不念呢，就是念佛念法那个念僧那个念。
Bunian was the same nian. Nian is recite, as recite the Buddha's name, recite the Dharma, recite the Sangha, the same recite.
The Chinese word nian here is recitation, like nianfo, reciting the Buddha's name, but also means to remember, to be mindful of. So here, wu nian is not mindful, not reciting. Okay, because when you say nian fo, nian fa, nian sen is to be mindful of. Okay, but it's okay. We can guess the meaning. No.
But in here, Master YongHua wasn't explaining the meaning of nian. He's saying the character is the same character as nian fo, nian fa, nian sen.
Okay. Continue, we'll see.
他对这个佛法呀，非常的有兴趣，供养三宝，不遗余力，就是尽量的来供养三宝。
He was very interested in this Buddha Dharma and spared no effort in offering the triple jewel. He tried his best in offering the triple jewel.
有一次啊，他就请了3000多个比丘、比丘尼来迎供，开这个弘法大会。
One time, he invited over 3,000 bhikkhus and bhikkhunis over for offering and had this great Dharma propagation gathering.
这位觉明法师呢，也就参加这个法会，也是3000比丘之中呢，比丘比丘尼之中呢，他是其中一个。
Dharma Master Jueming was one of the 3,000 bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who attended this Dharma assembly.
其中一个 啊，这个太子叫这个达摩不多，就一看他这么容貌也圆满，衣服也整齐。
He was one of them. This prince named Emitofuo saw his appearance was perfect. His clothes were neat.
这种的微教相非常之好。然后就问他，说你呀，从什么地方来的啊？他对这个太子谈话也非常的有辩才。
His awesome comportment and teaching mark were very good. Thus, he asked him, "Where did you come from?" He was very eloquent in his conversation with the prince.
这种辩才还不是横不讲道理，这种辩才，好像说是他和哪个佛教也不来往啊，或者独创一派呀，不是这一套。
This eloquence wasn't the unreasonable type. It wasn't as if he was saying he wasn't interacting with other Buddhism lineages or developed a school of his own. It wasn't like that.
Okay, stop. So this is it Jueming? We're still in Jueming, right? This Jueming here was invited to this great Dharma assembly offering, where back then the royal patrons would organize a big deal like that and invited a lot of these well-known masters to come to attend. And so Jueming attended that thing. And his awesome comportment stood out. Okay, because monks and nuns, we are supposed to hone our awesome comportment. And like a slide or two before that, Master YongHua showed how. He says it's a home. See the 3,000 bhikshus and bhikshunis. Okay, so that's a good thing, because back then you don't discriminate monks and nuns. You're smart. Okay. And there's a prince who noticed that Jueming appearance was neat, it's perfect. Okay, the clothes he dressed was perfectly neat and tidy, clean. Okay, and awesome comportment and teaching and his awesome comportments and teaching marks were good. Okay, and he was so he became interested and talked to this Jueming monk, because he's really stood out. Okay, and he says he developed this skills, this eloquence, by interacting with other Buddhists, or he's trying to set up a school his own or anything like that. Okay, so this is where I want Z over to Korea to pay attention. He's asleep probably. Okay, don't do this. Okay, if we go over there, don't stand out. Okay, that's not our style. Wherever we go, we don't stand out. Okay? Even at our own temple, you don't stand out. Okay? If you sit with others, then you should disappear and look like, behave just like the others. That's what you do. That's what cultivation's about. You don't stand out. Okay? That's not our style. We blend in. Okay? If you want to show off a little bit and show a little bit, it's okay. But it's for the purpose of teaching people. You show, yes, there's a certain way of doing it because you're supposed to teach them. But it's not 24 hours a day. Okay? It's tiring, let me tell you. It is so tiring to put on a facade. Okay? It's much better to blend in. You know, if people laugh, you laugh. If people slouch, you slouch a little bit. Not as much as they do. Okay? So that you don't notice. Okay? We're not supposed to stand out. You're not supposed to stand out. Okay? And so this is not our style to go and try to stand out. However, it's a good idea to go and meet with the other Sunims, the other monks, and learn from them. Okay, because we are new. You're new to the country. You're new to the system, so you need to go there and learn, observe how they function, how they interact with their people, with their colleagues, and so forth. Because we need to observe the proper protocol and hopefully be humble enough so that they will teach you how to do it, the proper way of interactions. Okay, that's what I'm referring to on slide 147. You learn that by interacting with others, and don't stand out. Okay? Because if you stand out like this Jue Ming here, he's so outstanding that I would dare venture to say that the other monks would not even dare comment about him or make any suggestions or at all. So would be lost opportunities to learn from the other senior monks. Yes, Green.
Thank you, Master. I'm just trying to follow this the story arc or the arc of Jaeming. So he was the son of the father who badmouthed the Sramana, got sick. They apologized to the Sramana. The father got better. Then Jaeming follows this Sramana who's scared of a tiger, who then realizes Jaeming has the spiritual penetrating eye and can see that the tiger is full. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm just trying to keep track of this because it's quite an arc.
Yeah, kind of Chinese.
Okay.
You need to have a Chinese mind to really follow this.
So then, Jaeming's only 13 and he reads like 1 million plus sutras and everybody's like, holy moly, that's amazing. And then Jaeming says, yes, I know, it is amazing, becomes very full of himself to the extent that no one even in his 20s will give him the precepts. And so then he finds an external sutra that he studies for 5 years, at which point they say, cool, you're not so proud anymore. Could someone who could possibly stand this person please give him the precepts? 2 years later at 27, he gets them. And then through that character arc, he's now like a Dharma master level?
Yeah, that's it. You got it. Is there a question?
That was the question. Thank you for helping me understand.
Yeah, I know it's kind of convoluted the way the Chinese think. You know, they go from India to all over the world. You know, one country to the next. That's how well traveled these monks are. It's so cool. Yes.
So he had considerable development in not standing out, where first he stood out tremendously. And now he's learned through socializing and finding his way to receive the precepts not to stand out.
No, not quite like that. The story is that at the young age, at the age of 13, he is able to open his spiritual eye, while his master was not able to open. It's easier for teenagers to open their spiritual eyes when they practice. Okay, as we become older, become more mature, we have more pollutions. So our minds are more polluted. That's why it's hard to keep them open. All right? But in the future, monks like the old monk here, who really much purer than we are, he can spend time reciting sutras like this guy here, million scrolls of sutra. That's how you purify your mind. Okay, and if you refrain from what this monk, the young monk, has, that is that he's not manic. Therefore, he's not going to lose his temper. So that's would be a inhibiting factor for this old monk to open his eye. Okay, so if, for example, this old monk here doesn't lose his temper and doesn't worry so much about up north, whatever happened, who cares? Okay, we don't worry about the small things. We worry about the big things. Yes, like death counts, infection rates. Okay, the rest we can ignore. Okay, it's not a big deal. Then he'll open his eyes as well. Okay, so that's what happened. This kid here just followed his master around, and he really received no training, that much training. So what did he do? Because they had nothing to do, so he recited sutras. The master didn't teach him how to meditate. He didn't know no chant, didn't have real mantras or whatever. Okay, so we have all these tools. It's just that. So it's a lot easier for this old monk here to open and do those things. Okay, try open them and show off so that we get more offerings for change and stop being poor. Okay, so that's why you guys don't realize I'm investing in you, hoping that would happen. And then I say, hey, is Starbucks still open? I said, which one? Okay, or I would call Z on we don't use Zoom, okay? And say, hey, never mind, and that's a private conversation. So you see, so that's how this kid opened his eyes, okay? And then he recited a lot of sutras because he really didn't have a lot of training. It's nothing else. He didn't have any specialized training things. So he recited sutras. So he recited a lot of them. So this kid is pretty bright and probably had nothing to do, okay? So it's impressive. But so he became very aware of his vast knowledge of sutras. And that's why Kumarajiva, the young Kumarajiva, followed him to study. Okay, that's how Kumarajiva got started. And then he, this Jue Ming here, was invited to this offering, great offering Dharma from the king, and so he came. Okay, meaning he really didn't have much to do himself, so he found time to go there, and of course he stood out like a sore thumb. Okay, which is bad news for the other monks. Okay, so that's why it's not advisable. You don't want to stand out so that so that the other monks would be under pressure. Okay, and you don't realize it, Z. You know, I was in an environment where people were so much under pressure, okay, that this is my master's environment, master's temples. We were all cultivating together. And we prided ourselves and say, we cultivate, we don't do anything but cultivate, okay? And so we, on top of it, we are racing. We have an arms race, you know. See who recites hands and eyes better, okay, and so forth. So we have, you know, and what happened is that under that kind of intense competition, people started cheating. They couldn't keep up, so they had to cheat. Because the senior monks, the senior people, you know, like Jue Ming, 13 years old, he can see the inside the tummy of a tiger, where his master, okay, who's a lot older, has been around a lot older, couldn't see that. You see the pressure on his master, okay? And he goes to this great assembly, Dharma, 3,000 people. He stood out like a tall thumb again. So a lot of people around him were under pressure as well, okay? And to me, you're doing a disservice to our Sangha, okay? So I still remember that. He said that's why you don't put pressure on your peers wherever you are. That's why you blend in, okay? We don't try to impress. And I felt bad for these people, because really, folks, in our environment, in my prior environment, all what we did was we advertising ourselves as cultivators. We cultivate, okay? We have the Dharma to cultivate, full time. That's it. Don't do anything else. Just cultivate. And we even have competitions, and so that we can compete with each other, see who does it better. Eventually, if people get beaten repeatedly, they have no choice but cheat. And once you cultivate, if you cultivate and you decide to cheat, you feel compelled to cheat, you're done cultivating. That's it. Forget it. So when you put so much pressure on your peers, okay, it's not good for them. We don't have to put pressure on people, okay? That's why you blend in, okay? Take it easy. You have nothing to prove. You're there to learn, all right? If they slouch, you slouch. If they eat like a pig, you pig out as well. And then you go to the toilet, okay, we blend in, okay? Don't stand out. It doesn't matter. I really feel bad for those people who cultivate and they had to cheat. I'm very sorry it happened. Okay. Okay. Don't do that to others, so that they're done for their whole career. You claim you're cultivating and you have to cheat. You're done. That's it. Change careers. Okay. Or now you have to cheat in everything you do. Okay, continue, please.
那么就很有道理讲的话。咱们这个太子呢，就非常欢喜。 非常欢喜呀，就把他留下了，留他在宫里边呢，就供养他。
It was a very reasonable conversation. The prince was very pleased, and kept him in the palace to make offering to him.
And I also heard another story as well. In my younger days, I was starting out and had no support, nothing whatsoever. And I heard on Master YongHua's tapes here, he said he related how the externalists built the support. Okay, so these Taoists in China, he says, they would cultivate very hard, okay, and they developed some skills. So they said, wow, that's a rich person right there. Okay, so they would, every day, they would stop by in front of that rich person's house, okay, and looking for offerings. And so they keep on coming to the house, okay, and eventually they would meet with the owner and showed off their skills, okay, and that's how these owners were impressed. They would bring this Taoist guy in and to eat lunch and talk some more like this prince here, you know. You're so eloquent. Come back to my palace. Let's talk some more. I'm interested, okay, and so this Taoist guy would come back and would show off him and would, you know, they work on these skills, okay. They develop the skills that not for the sake of opening the wisdom, but to impress people. Okay, and so eventually the Taoist guy would keep on showing off, and so the owner is so sold, as I said, you must be a sage. Therefore, I'm going to increase my blessings by building you a temple. So they would spend like millions or tens of $20 million building a temple for this guy. Okay, yeah. So that's why in Taiwan, Master YongHua says there's so many Taoist temples, like 10-story temples, best places, perfect access, next to the stations and on the big boulevards and so forth, very visible, like a monument themselves. And they're all empty because no one stays there, no one cultivated, because then he moved on to the next rich guy to build another way place, and on and on and on. Okay? That's how they do it. Now you know, old monk, we are waiting for you. Someone has to make the sacrifice, right? We can be pure. You don't have to.
Như là Phật, hôm trước có cái sư cô với LA lên đây cúng dường xá lợi của Hòa Thượng Giác Nhiên cho chùa mình. Còn nói chuyện rất là thân mật. Thì cô nói chùa Hòa Thượng ở dưới lớn lắm. Thầy có chùa chưa? Con nói tôi giờ xin lỗi cô, tôi cho tôi cái chùa cục tiêu hư, tôi không có tiền tôi sửa nữa. Con nói tại thầy không biết chứ mà mình kêu Phật tử nó đóng.
Wow.
So a while ago, there was a nun came from LA, came to our temple to offering the Sharara of Venerable Yak Nhin, and the nun asked me...
He's a senior Vietnamese monk. Very, very big name. He's very rich. He has a lot of temples. He died.
So she asked me...
Jue Ran. His Chinese name is Jue Ran. Jue is an awakened Ran is brilliance, burning, the Ran, the light burning. So the awakening, the enlightenment is so bright. Okay, enlightened brightness. That's a nice name.
And the nun asked me, do I have a temple? And then I confessed
This is
to
when
her.
ago? Recently?
2 years ago, I think.
Last year.
Cổ cúng cho chùa mình khoảng đâu 20 ngôi xá lợi của Hòa thượng đó.
Really?
Yeah.
How come I don't know about that? I'm so bad.
Rồi cái cậu đi theo đó cho con được 5 ngôi. Là của riêng cậu đó, của cho con 5 ngôi. Nó giống như xe cừ đẹp lắm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ông đó xuất gia hồi 7 tuổi đó.
So the nun asked me, do I have my own temple? And then I confessed, if you give me a temple, like if you give me a toilet, I won't be able to fix it, not talking about the big temple. And then she said, it's very easy. If you want to have a big temple, you just ask the Buddhist disciple and then they will help you.
How come no one told me about this? No wonder these people have such an edge over us. They know they've received the proper training. Yeah. YouTube question.
Daniel asks, in Buddhism, who is considered externalist?
You. Any other questions? Just kidding. I hope, I don't know why he keeps on coming. We keep on abusing him. I don't know why you keep on coming. You eventually get abused. Yeah, scream. But you love it. I don't believe you. If you love it, then it's not called abuse.
Maybe to support Daniel's question, one of the best examples I heard you give of externalism, Master, was one of the first Dharma talks I attended at Blue Mountain Temple, where you talked about the right to pursue happiness, and that's looking externally. You shouldn't have to look anywhere for happiness. Happiness can be right inside of yourself, and that helped me understand externalism.
And then you decided to get married.
Much like Juling's story, it wasn't a direct path towards that, but it was along the way. Yes.
So it didn't work. Very good. That's a beautiful example. Thank you. I forgot. It's just amazing. I just said those things and I said, did I say that? Did I say that? Probably the ghost. Wow, that's a good Dharma glimpse. Let me repeat that. Never mind. It's no longer, natural when you lose spontaneity. So this, you don't realize that this nun here, I understand that she's like number 2. When the venerable monk was alive, she's like his assistant. So she's pretty big. Okay, and I think she's ended up inheriting his fortune or whatever, took it over. So she's very well connected. I hope you still have a phone number. Okay, continue. So that's the externalist, basically, as a beautiful answer right there from Green. Externalist, it sounds bad, but actually it's not that bad. The non-Buddhists take offense of that. In general, externalists are non-Buddhist practitioners. Why is that? Because, for example, in your world, Daniel, your faith is based on someone else outside of you, external to you. Okay, same thing here with these let's say these witch doctors. Okay, you could call them externalists as well, because they believe in receiving help from the ghosts, from from other beings, in order to do the things. Okay, so you are seeking outside of yourself. You're relying outside of yourself. That's why you're external. Your search external to yourself. Which part of yourself? Your mind, in particular. Okay, so the spiritual practices, they forsake the minds, your mind, and look for great things outside of your mind. Okay, and because of that practice, because of that faith, then they develop these. Everything they do would create more attachments to external things. Okay, they would become attached to spiritual powers. They become attached to witch doctoring. They become attached to temples, monuments. Okay, like those Taiwanese towers. Okay, so they are attached to the external things, and eventually, when they die, what happens to them? They're still there, but there's not much you can do with them. Okay, so what happened is what I call, wasted life. So for us Buddhists, we're different. We don't. We learn fundamentally. We learn. We trained to not attach to external things. Okay, that's the difference. And by not becoming attached to our external things, it requires us to look at one thing that's real. Eventually, look at a real thing. That's your mind. Your mind is the one thing that is real. Okay. So the Buddhists look at the mind. So that's why the Chinese like to say, don't look outside, and the externalists look outside of their minds. The true Buddhists don't look outside of their minds. They look inside of their minds. For example, you sit there, you cross your legs, and it hurts like hell. I don't know why it would hurt like hell. Okay. And you said, my leg hurts. I can't stand this. Okay. So you blame your hurt on where? Your knees. Huh? Because you're weak. So the Buddhists, when they first started, they said, I'm hurting. So, I'm not flexible. I'm too old. I have this, I have that. Okay? So that's making excuses. So if they survive that test, I'm telling you right now, because it's a Chan Chi, okay, and I see some people suffering so much and making a fool of themselves, okay, and still don't get it. Usually we let you suffer for a few years, and then if you don't quit, we might tell you. But tonight, I'm in a good mood, you know. People are not dying as quickly as many as they were predicting. And the new strains are not harming as not as harmful as they're predicting as well. So, you know. So when you hurt so much, what do? Okay, you look at you and say, I'm hurting because of my legs, and because of my hips, because of my ankles, and so forth. YouTube has a comment.
Daniel says, our faith is to God, but we don't see that as external.
What? Faith is what?
Our faith is to God.
God is external to you, my friend. External to you. If you believe in anything other than yourself, then you're an externalist. In particular, you believe in anything other than your own mind. In Buddhism, you are an externalist because it will eventually bring you to a dead end. You find out for yourself. Right now, you don't believe me, it's okay. But eventually, one of these days, you wake up and say, wow, I'm a dead end. There's nowhere else to go. Now I see God. What's next? You know? And then you say, wow, God is so beautiful, so wonderful. And then you discover more things and say, wow, it's not like the way that we thought. So it's because we looked for outside ourselves. That's why you believe things that others tell us. The scientists tell us, God tell us, your preachers tell us. Whereas in Buddhism, my friend, we don't look outside. We ask you to look inside for you to ascertain for yourself whether it's true or not, instead of believing my words or God's words or the Buddha's words. That's the difference. That's the difference between looking into your mind to find out, to verify for yourself, to certify for yourself, okay? Instead of looking for someone else to tell you what to do, or tell you what to know, tell you what to believe. Like telling, like the scientists telling you that if it's not, if there is no facts, then it's not science, okay? Or QAnon telling you, and so forth, because still you are relying on others than yourself to know, to act, to believe. Okay? Instead of, in Buddhism, the outside is only temporary. In order to help you develop, look at your mind and verify it and ascertain for yourself it's true or not. Because you have the ability, because your Buddha nature knows. You just don't know how to access your Buddha nature yet, that's all. So that's why we teach newcomers or new people by asking them to train in full lotus. And it hurts. And so that's a first test. And they don't quit. Eventually, they hang in there. Eventually, they will say, after a long time, they will see that instead of complaining about the knees, about the ankles, and about all those things, you should look at what? Why did you quit? That's the whole purpose. So every time you quit, why? What happened at that moment when you quit? So you keep on looking at that mind, okay? And you keep on fighting, you keep on going at it and quit, going at it and quit, going at it and quit. Eventually, you follow the instructions, the training, then you will break through. And you say, oh, when I quit, that was my thinking. Now I don't quit anymore. My mind is different. So all this is the price you have to pay, the tests you have to take in order to pass the grade. And every time you pass the test, you understand a little bit more about how your mind works. Okay? And you ascertain for yourself why you behave that way. Okay? You get better and better. You see clearer why you're like that. Okay? And this particular man here, this particular Meng Jue Ming here, is not quite there yet. So that's why he still, stands out. He still sticks out like a sore thumb. He should disappear. Because if, what is he doing? So right now your level is not to quit first. The first training is to quit. It's not to quit. Not to listen to your own mind says, I quit. Because it hurts too much. Because I'm not making progress. Because. And you're well justified. You listen to yourself. You have so many reasons to quit. Because. That's your test. If you quit, then you'll never become a fourth stage arhat. Never. Just the mere fact you keep on fighting, you planted the seeds to become a fourth stage arhat. So in failing, I'm forcing you to face your failure. Okay? Time and time again. And you keep coming back at it. And you're in those failures, you plant the seeds for you to eventually overcome it all. Because if you keep going through this, you understand your mind. Naturally. Okay? Whereas these people, they look outside, they look to build a temple, look to have recognition, look at money, look at disciples helping them build temples. It's external to them. Is that clear? Look at God, look at Allah for comfort, for success, for reassurance. All those, when they die, they cannot depend on them anymore. But if you understand your mind, then when you die, you're your own master, folks. That's the difference between externalists and us. Okay? We train you in order to understand and be in control of your mind, and thus your life. If you depend on someone to give you money, to give you reassurance, to give you support, to buy you a temple, okay? You are but a what, Daniel? A slave. That's all you are. A slave to your donor. This guy is a slave. Jue Ming is a slave to the prince. Huh? What is he doing going to a Dharma assembly with 3,000 people? There's one less seat for someone else who needs it more than he does. Right? If he just says, I'm sorry, like Master Hui Neng says, I'm sorry, I'm really old, I'm too weak, I can't walk very far, and I go there, I slouch and I will snore, it will not look good for you, please, ask someone else, give someone else a chance to have a temple, to get their disciples to buy them a temple. It's good for them. It's okay. We just keep our shariras, that's all. Okay? See that? So that's a different. For us, we looked, we go through these exercises, these tests to help us gain control of our mind instead of relying on external things. So even within Buddhism, folks, the Chinese explain externalists as those people, they look at, they're searching for outside the mind, they're looking for success. Okay? For example, in your world, Daniel, okay, you guys measure yourselves, compare yourselves as successful or not successful, okay, or not as successful, okay. Success is an external measure, isn't it? So therefore, you're an externalist. In Buddhism, remember the example I told you that we're competing in our temple where we proclaim to the whole organization that we cultivate, we deserve your support because we cultivate. And these people will feel compelled to cheat and to lie and boast about results that didn't exist, okay, that weren't true, and they were caught red-handed as well. They are externalists within Buddhism. So it's not just outside of Buddhism. Inside of Buddhism, we also have externalists as well. Questions, comments? And it's because once you engage in these things, these externalist things, that you are so attached to external things, it's very hard to you to undo that. You're an externalist, and you like this Jue Ming here, and his family has these secret externalist practices that no one knows. They're very proud of it. Okay, they can support themselves, sustain themselves doing those secret practices. That's how successful they were. And so when they saw something better, they switched camp, they learned about Buddhism, and those externalist habit energies are still there, we're still there. He's still looking for recognition. He's still trying to impress his shifu. Hey, the tiger is full. Just shut up. Why are you to say anything? Did your shifu ask you? So he's trying to impress his shifu. He went, and then later he's trying to impress people. I'm sorry. If I'm wrong, please punish me. But he's reading all these scrolls every day to impress people that I read so many scrolls. None of you can keep up with me. That's externalist as well. Yes? He's still looking for recognition again. Right? And then he went to this this big feast, 3,000 Sanghanas, monks and nuns. He's trying to impress again. He would stand out. That's from the externalist habit energies, trying to impress. Do you feel like continuing? Few more minutes? Okay, a few more minutes.
那是人间最上的妙味啊，这个最好的吃的东西给供养的。
Made offering using the most wonderful flavor in the human realm, offered him the best food.
最好的衣服来供养的，最好的房子住的地方都是用这个最优厚的这种的东西来供养。
Best clothes, best house, and best living quarters. He used the most favorable items to offer to him.
供养就在这个时候呢，这个鸠摩罗什法师啊，那时候就跟他妈妈到这个沙雷国。
Made offering. At that time, this Dharma master Kumarajiva arrived to Shalay with his mother.
You see, this Jue Ming here, it says he accepted all those things because I deserve it, he felt. I'm better than any of them. See? He's an externalist monk. Continue.
这样亲近他，就跟他学佛法，跟他一学佛法。
He wanted to draw near him, so he studied the Buddha Dharma under him. He studied the Buddha Dharma under him.
啊，这个鸠摩罗什法师原来是学小乘佛法，现在跟他学大乘佛法，学大乘的佛教。
This Dharma master Kumarajiva originally studied the Hinayana Buddha Dharma, now followed him to study the Mahayana Buddha Dharma, studied the Mahayana Buddhism.
那么学了大约1-2年的时候啊，这个鸠摩罗什的母亲就带着鸠摩罗什法师啊，去到这个回到龟兹国去。龟兹国。
Studied for about a year or two, Dharma master Kumarajiva's mother brought him back to Kucha.
Okay, YouTube has a question.
Rushu asks, a friend of mine is preparing for an important exam in her life, but she has panic disorders which makes it difficult for her to study. Can I request a medicine Master Buddha plaque for her without her consent?
Sure, it would help. Absolutely. Part of that's a part of giving. Part of giving is better when they don't know that they're the recipients. Okay, that's helping and yet not helping. You help, but they think that you're not helping. That's better. And then, more importantly, and you help, and then if nothing happens, blame it on her. So that means that it truly you're not helping at all. Don't say, I help, and how come nothing, it didn't help at all. You see? Because you didn't help. That's why nothing happened. Okay, we have to stop here tonight. I think we're going to go into, it goes on and on, right? This Kumarajiva is a real character himself. He's a sage, a real sage. Okay? Yeah. All right. Any final comments, questions and comments? Okay, 2 more nights. Work hard, huh? It's not much time left. Okay? Let's bring those numbers down further. Yes? Everywhere. Yes? Okay. Thank you, everyone. You're all doing very well. Very special. Love you all. Yes, you too.